What's up, guys? It's Jay, MorninAfterKill, and this is a video that I kind of wanted to make, but not really. Because when I said that I was done with 2K, Gearbox, and the Borderlands franchise, I was 100% dead-ass serious. Especially after 2K copyright striked me for my video back in January. That's something we'll address another time. But, part of leaving this portion of my life behind is, well, just that. I have to leave it behind. So you can understand my hesitation the last week and a half since my copyright strike dropped in making this video. And you can also, when you throw in the fact that we were a couple days away from a major Borderlands 3 update, overhaul, I don't know, whatever the fuck they want to call it. This game's been updated or overhauled more times in the last year than I can recall. So we'll just call it Borderlands 3.3. Who knows? Whatever. But, I feel like for those long-time Borderlands fans, I don't want to call them MorninAfterKill fans, because there are people that, they're like, MorninAfterKill doesn't play Borderlands no more. I don't fuck with MorninAfterKill no more. That means you're not a MorninAfterKill fan. It means you're a Borderlands fan. You're not a fan of me. So, to those people that are not fans of MorninAfterKill, and they don't know this story that I've been telling on Twitch the, last bunch of months, I will tell it for the long-time Borderlands fans and, at least give them an explanation why I dropped Borderlands like a hot potato. So, let's go ahead and rewind time, right? Backwards to give you kind of an entire breakdown of where I was in my own mental headspace and where I slid from franchise to disenfranchisementary. Yeah. Anyway, Borderlands 3, Borderlands 3 at launch was fucking sick. Care what anyone says, the game was fucking amazing. I love the story, I love the playable characters, the guns actually sounded like guns, more like Borderlands 1 and less like Borderlands 3, because, Borderlands 2 was fucking amazing. Let's be real about that. I fucking played that game for a long ass time. But one of my biggest complaints that I've long held is that the guns in Borderlands 2 looked and sounded like toys. Plink, 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 plink. You don't believe me? Go back to Borderlands 2 and shoot a fucking Sandhawk. You'll see exactly what I mean. Comparing the guns from Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 1 and 3, there's a distinct design decision made there. A distinct line drawn between the two. But, going back to Borderlands 3, the fucking movement, the aim and everything, oh my god, it was... I was in heaven, because Borderlands 3's gunplay has finally matched, those of other rival AAA shooters like Destiny, Halo, Call of Duty, big name, console shooters that, this game actually felt really good on controller and not just good on mouse and keyboards. It's a very big thing, especially since Borderlands has a massive console, installed console base. Definitely needs to have top tier gameplay. And, Borderlands 2, well, the gunplay was fine, but it wasn't as good as Borderlands 3. But I digress. There was still some gaps in the endgame loot grind, right? Most notably, there was no farmable mini-bosses for targeted loot drops, which is one of the things that, Borderlands fucking excels at. The story itself was too long to require subsequent tool playthroughs on multiple characters, right? I don't mind playing through a 40-hour campaign once, but then I gotta play 40-hour campaign on this character, then True Vault Hunter mode, and then I gotta do that times fucking 4, so that means I gotta play a 40-hour campaign 8 times. It means I gotta spend 320 motherfucking hours playing the campaign. Like I said, I enjoyed the story, goddamn, I didn't enjoy the story 320 hours worth. But also, for some reason, the goddamn anointed militants at launch were fucking broken. That was one of my biggest pet peeves, because they were everywhere! Everywhere! And, I mean, the pipe bomb, well, I mean, the pipe bomb fucking existed. Probably shouldn't have, though. But, you know, like I said, the game at launch was far from perfect. But the game was still bad fucking earth. I can't tell you enough how much I enjoyed the game. Now, if they could have just sorted a few of the performance issues, assigned some loot drops to mini bosses, and deliver some post-launch content at least on par with the same quality that we saw from Borderlands 2, then, you know, it's a winning formula. We would have seen the best Borderlands experience yet, because the gameplay was just significantly better in Borderlands 3 than Borderlands 2. Hands down. But then came the Bloody Harvest. And I think that's where my enjoyment of the game started waning off, right? Because for me, Borderlands 3 was a solid 8.5 at launch. Maybe my own biased opinion will boost it up to maybe a 9, but I think an unbiased fair opinion at launch is that Borderlands came out at least a solid 8 to an 8.5, right? And then the Bloody Harvest came, and, you know, prior to the Bloody Harvest, we also saw a few updates to Moses' nade spam, Flax fade away, loot tank farming, and the pipe bomb. Those were all nerfed, fixed, adjusted, whatever you want to call it, whatever nomenclature, verbiage you want to use. But those updates, you know, I didn't really disagree with them too much. I know a few people out there did, but, you know, the pipe bomb was fucking stupid. You know, Flack and Mose afterwards were still top tier characters, and, you know, they required specific gear after that update to melt bosses fast, which I think should be fine. You know, the reason why Flack and Mose were nerfed in the first place is because you could take any fucking gun or any grenade that you want into a fucking fight and win easily without no tactics at all. That's what you call overpowered. Afterwards, though, Flack and Mose needed specific gear to melt boss fasts, and, you know, I'm okay with that. But the loot tanks and the pipe bombs, they were stupid, and they ruined the end game grind anyway. So that's why you won't find any vidges on my channel or my stream of me farming the loot tanks or using the pipe bomb, because I didn't agree with it. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, I digress. The Bloody Harvest. The Bloody Harvest sucked ass. Not going to sugarcoat that for you. I'm going to put that 100% bluntly. It was a 15-minute fetch quest tied to a 20-minute mission, which led into a loot chase for gear that was a timed exclusive. And that's where Gearbox fucked up. Timed exclusives just don't work in the Borderlands universe. One of Borderlands' biggest upsides to the franchise is the crazy amount of content that you get for the price. Borderlands has always been one of the best bang for the bucks that you can spend your money on in a video game. To this day, Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 are still some of the... If you catch it on like a $5 or $10 Steam sale, bro, that shit, one of the best fucking video game purchases that you can ever fucking make. But there was no purchase that I could make here. This should have been handled better, right? There should have been two options for this event. Option number one should have been the Bloody Harvest timed event, just like we saw it, right? Fetch quest, mission, boss, loot, heads and skins, free for everybody. Limited time event. Fucking awesome. There should have been an option to purchase the Bloody Harvest as a Headhunter pack for $5 and have it added to your game forever, and it would have removed Maurice's fetch quest and allow you to farm Haunt without needing Hectoplasm. That would have been the best way to go about it. But it wasn't, and since the Bloody Harvest was only a limited time event with exclusive gear timed, man, they tied exclusive gear to this event. And I felt compelled to sink all my time into this farm, this event, this content. Why? Because this gear is not going to be fucking available again. Right? You know, I must farm for it now because I'm not going to be able to get it again. Even if they upgrade the fucking level caps in the future, I still want this in my fucking inventory, in my fucking, you know, somewhere in my bank, my wall, my trophy case, something. I want this because you're not going to be able to get it. People that come in a year later be like, hey, look at this. It's cool. It's a grenade. Fucking skulls come out of it. And, oh, it's fucking awesome, right? Yes, I must farm for it. And I did. For 250 fucking hours. I'm not even joking. This is not a joke. That's not hyperbole at all. I farmed the main game before this for 250 hours, getting my gear and my loadouts for my characters. And then I spent another 250 hours farming the Bloody Harvest alone. I had 500 hours into this game before the first Takedown came out. So I don't want to hear anybody say, yo, you didn't give this game a chance. Motherfucker, I gave this game more of a chance than anybody out there. I don't fucking hear that. But I farmed 250 hours for a fucking grenade because I wanted every piece of gear from this event, you know? And the Vindicator gas call is the only thing that would not drop for me at all, no matter how much I tried. Now, like I said, I know you're gonna be like, well, you didn't have to farm 250 fucking hours for a grenade. No, I didn't, because if this had actually been added into the game instead of being a seasonal limited time event, yeah, maybe I could have farmed it more casually in my spare time, but since Gearbox made the decision that it was going to be a limited time event, it's gonna be going away, and you're never gonna have a chance to get it. This was my only chance to get it, and it never dropped. The event came and went, and I never got my Vindicator gas call to drop. That's where, you know, we've already gone from like an 8.0, 8.5 game, and we're sliding down into the 7s real fucking fast. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't sink 500 hours into games that are like 7.5s and under. You know, that's why I don't play fucking Anthem. That's why I don't play fucking what the fuck is that game with the flipping, twisting, and the fucking I forget the fucking. That's why I don't play fucking The Division, Warframe, fucking Warframe, goddamn game that gives me motion sickness. Why I don't play them, man? Because I don't fucking invest time into games that are 7.5 or below. And Gearbox was just tanking this game fast. So what does Gearbox do to capitalize on top of that? Yeah, we get the news from Gearbox that we won't be getting any DLC characters in this game. That's a little bit of a kick in the dick there. I'm pretty sure everybody in the Borderlands community felt that one. Even if you don't like me, you don't like my content, you don't like me, for some reason you're here just because you're fucking interested in Borderlands and there's not much going on with the whole fucking coronavirus shit in the world and you got a little bit of extra time left over. fucking come by here and check this out. But you can't like deny that. Everybody felt that in the Borderlands community. It's like, oh man, we're not getting DLC characters. But then we also, during that time, saw multiple changes to, like, the loot drop rates were broken, then the anointed drop rates were up and then down, and then Gearbox promised that the anointed drop rates were going to stay high, but then they were stealth changed down in the middle of the night. The game still had rampant performance issues, and to top it all off, there was some whole debacle that the developers... see, this is the bullshit that I hate with Gearbox. They can never just give it to us straight. Be like, we didn't like the way Mose was performing, and so we went ahead and nerfed some of the grenades in the game. But no, they had some shit where, like, somebody accidentally turned off a fucking... this AoE splash damage on AoE splash damage grenades, which in turn made Moses' entire blue tree useless, and they're gonna fix it, but they never did, and still to this day, I'm pretty sure they never really fixed it. Needless to say, as great as Borderlands 3 launched, its post-launch handling was just lackluster at best. And then came the Maliwan Takedown and the Mayhem 4 update. Where do I begin? This was not good content. Those of you guys out there that were always on my Twitter yelling at me saying, how could you complain about the Bloody Harvest? It's free. Any free content is good content, man. No, the Maliwan Takedown and the Mayhem 4 update is a perfect example of when not all free content is good content. And, personally, I'm a firm believer that Borderlands 3 didn't need to launch with the Mayhem mode. I feel like Mayhem is something that they should have held for at least a few DLCs and maybe a few level cap upgrades in the future. But they didn't. And it did release with Mayhem. And not only did they, but they also, for some reason, doubled down on top of the Mayhem levels with Mayhem 4 2 months after release. And then they locked gear behind it. Like, I get when people say, they're like, yo, you don't have to play Mayhem 4, you can play Mayhem 3. Yeah, but this is a loot chase game, and they put the loot that we're chasing locked behind Mayhem 4. So, yeah, now I kind of gotta go into Mayhem 4 because I'm compelled by the chase of the loot. Fucking Gearbox knows what the fuck they're doing within that regards, They know the whole carrot on the stick gameplay. Don't fucking act like you don't have to play. You don't have to go get that loot. Yeah, fuck you, man. This is a fucking Gearbox game. It's a fucking loot chase game. Yes, I gotta go fucking get that gear. But they for some reason, they released the Maliwan Takedown and Mayhem 4. And Gearbox's reasoning was because we complained that we wanted raid bosses to farm. But they took that as, we want raid bosses because it's difficult content. This game's too easy. No, that's not what we wanted raid bosses for. We wanted raid bosses to farm because there was nothing to fucking farm. All the cool bosses in the game have annoying health gate and invincibility phases, and, they're fucking annoying to farm. So the only boss that didn't have any fucking annoying health gates and drop decent loot was pretty much a giant fucking punching bag that we used to test out damage on. And when they finally did get around to adding in targeted loot drops to the game, they even fucked that up by giving mini bosses like 3 or 4 different guns to drop, which ruins the fun of targeting an enemy for a specific weapon. because that just adds, it's compounded RNG on top of RNG, right? When I see Savage Lee and I want to farm him for a fucking unkempt herald, but now I want an unkempt herald with a double penetrating prefix, but I also want it with a fucking, maybe a Tor grip and a Jacob sight, you know, it's RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG that you're farming for. That's what makes a Borderlands fun. Now, Borderlands 3, what doesn't make it fun is, instead of farming a specific enemy for a specific element, for a specific fucking anointment, for a specific part on it, right? And you got RNG on top of RNG. Now you compound all that on top of that with another layer of RNG that you have to get the right gun to drop from that enemy before you get the right element, before you get the right anointment and the right parts and so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying? That adding like 3 or 4 guns to one fucking, like, maybe a boss is cool because, you know, bosses drop a lot of fucking loot, but when it's a fucking, you know, a mini boss and they only drop 1 gun at a time, you know, it's like, oh shit, you're not gonna see 3 or 4 guns pop out of a fucking mini boss all legendary. No, it's not really gonna happen unless you're using a fucking, you know, a save editor, trainer, cheat engine, whatever the fuck you want. But, you know, it's, they just took the concept of targeted loot farming and shat all over it, right? It's like they just don't understand what makes Borderlands fun for us. I don't understand it. And to even further compound that, bro, they fucking locked some of the targeted loot drops behind, like, whole training ground missions and shit, where you gotta go through, like, fucking, like, 30 minutes of content just to get 1 kill on the boss. Bruh, that's just way too much involved in farming, you know, trying to, if they let you run through the training grounds real quick and, you know, go blast off a kill on the fucking boss real quick, you know, I'm okay with that, but, you know, have to go through all that, especially when one of them was a fucking class mod too for some of the characters. Like, damn, that's rough, because you need that class mod to go and get through that to get the class mod. It's whatever, right? But like I said, they locked that gear behind Mayhem 4, and, you know, that's the same gear that you needed to be competitive in Mayhem 4. So how are you going to get through the training ground to get that class mod? And you need that class mod to get through the training ground. Just doesn't seem like they thought through the whole fucking, the end game loot chase very well. And, you know, this led to all the same problems that Borderlands 2 had with the overpower levels. Is to be competitive at the top level, you're pretty much forced into using the same cookie cutter meta builds as every other player. And, you know, it worked for Borderlands 2 because OP didn't come out until fucking like 2.5 years later. We're talking about this game hasn't even been out for a year yet. They not only did they fucking add the Mayhem levels at launch, but they added fucking Mayhem levels 2 months after the game as free content. Like, what? Why are we even getting endgame upgrade, you know, to our levels in 2 months before the first DLC came out? Makes no fucking sense, you know? And when I played Maliwan Takedown, you guys probably seen it on a couple other content creators' channels. We all did it together on stream, and it was completely fucked. The first and only time I've ever played that. We dealt with all sorts of multiplayer lag. There was some desyncing. When Jolts finally did clutch it against Wotan, the game glitched out we didn't get the completion for it, and we were robbed of the yay all together having fun and beating the boss moment. And they even robbed Jolts of that moment where he's like, yo, I clutched this, the team put it on my back and I fucking came through. Like he didn't get that feeling because he didn't get the completion for it. And it was that point that I thought, you know what, Jolts, K6, Lazy, they were all having fun with it, right? I was like, fuck it. Maybe I'm just burned out on the game. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to play some Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And I'm going to come back for the next DLC and see if anything's gotten better. You see it from my last video that I put up around that. It really didn't. The Handsome Jackpot DLC was... To me, it was an entirely average DLC. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. But the story just completely whiffed on me. The new characters they introduced, they weren't any better than the old ones. They weren't even on par with the old ones. And the old ones that they did bring back, everything just felt kind of like, member berry jerk off fucking fest where Gearbox is all just like, oh man, you remember how awesome Borderlands 2 was? Let me go ahead and just remind you how awesome Borderlands 2 was while you're playing a game that's not as fun as this one, and they're sitting there jerking themselves off with how good Borderlands 2 is the entire time we're playing Borderlands 3 and we're not having that much fun. And it just kind of felt like a real punch to the motherfucking gut. I'm not even going to touch on the fact that they sold you guys a DLC and that had a weapon in it that was extremely overpowered. People bought the DLC for that weapon, and then they nerfed the DLC weapon after everybody already bought it. But, that's a whole nother video that I'm probably gonna make when I'm talking about how shitty Gearbox of a company is. But that's another day. But, like I said, all this, it went from like an 8.5 and just started spiraling all the way downhill from like an 8.5 to, I guess I would say, to an 8 with Bloody Harvest, and then it went to like a 7.5 with Mayhem 4 and the Malawan Takedown. And then, Handsome Jackpot, it kind of like, maybe kind of flattened out, but went down a little bit. So we're at like a 7.25, like 7.25, 7.25 of a game. And what really killed me for all this afterwards is, I'm on social media. You guys see me. I'm making videos, I'm streaming, and I'm trying to contact fucking Gearbox, and I wanted to help them fix this game. I'm like, come on, man, we can do this. The content creators are a valuable source, to go ahead and pick our brains and try to figure out what's going on. Where are you guys going wrong? What can we do within the limitations of the development team right now to fix this game, or at least put a band-aid on it for the time being? But I find out during this time that none of the other Borderlands content creators are speaking up on the issues that I have because they're too scared to risk their monthly paycheck from 2K for being on the stream team. So I'm backed into a corner here in the Borderlands community with no way out. The game's in a bad spot and no other content creator would speak out about it. I mean, it was so bad that other content creators were streaming Borderlands 2 while waiting for Gearbox to get the fuck off their ass and, really get this game into shape, right? And, personally, I don't know about you guys. I can't go back to Borderlands 2 because they ruined it with the OP10 before the game came out. But, personally, that's just how I feel. But, like I said, the final nail in the coffin is no other, content creators would speak out. I find out they're being paid by 2K to not speak out. And then I got the information that I made the video on that got copyright striked by 2K. And when I saw that information, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe 2K, Gearbox, and Borderlands are about to do this. And I saw no other way out of this. You know, I'm not gonna stand there and fucking shout from the rooftops and be looking like an asshole because everybody else ain't fucking, you know, saying a goddamn thing when they know for a fact that Borderlands 3 was in a bad fucking spot. So that's why I said, like, I was painted into a corner. So I said, fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna walk through the paint on my way to fuck out the door. I'm gonna close that door and I'm not gonna give a fuck about the paint that I tracked through the carpet on the way out. And you know that's what I did, you know. And I said what I said, and I uploaded what I said, and everything that I uploaded was 100% factual information at the time that I released it. So anybody out there that thinks that I was fucking making bullshit up or photoshopping shit, I mean, I could prove it, but I don't want to have to go as far to, you know, really throw some people under the bus when it comes to that, because I really don't want to have to go that far into it. But like I said, who knows if 2K actually would have gone through with the plans. But given the fact that the timeline that I showed lined up perfectly with Gearbox's PAX East presentation, I'm pretty sure that without the backlash that I stirred up, the dust that I kicked up, I'm pretty sure 2K and Gearbox would have gone through with it, would have released it, because let's be real, they've proved it time and time again. There is no more tone-deaf company when it comes to their employees and fans than 2K and Gearbox Software. That's facts. My name's Jay, MorninAfterKill. Thanks for watching. Fuck Randy Pitchford.